Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are doing the wishlist tag. This was started by Sarah Hubler and Mandy Lee here on YouTube. It actually was done back in the summer, so I'm always late to the game with these tags, but here we are today gonna do this. So basically they have formulated 10 different questions and we're gonna go through my 10 questions and 10 answers, and we're just gonna kind of talk about some things that are tempting me. So why don't we go ahead and get into it. Okay, before we jump directly into the questions, I wanted to say that mainly my motivation in doing this is that I feel so confused when it comes to like what I'm gonna buy myself or what I'm gonna ask for Christmas this year. So the Sephora sale recently happened. Obviously it's all over YouTube. I actually didn't end up shopping the Sephora sale, and I was kind of like for a moment proud of myself, and then I realized that I do this weird double think where I don't quite have like a running like wish list. They're just, I see so many things that I like and want, and they just live somewhere deep down in my head. And so when the Sephora sale happened, I filled up the basket, took things out, filled it up again, took things out, filled it up again, almost checked out, and then finally like a couple of the items that I really wanted by the time I made up my mind were sold out, which I'm not VIB, I'm not Rouge, I'm like the basic level insider thing. So I'm not surprised that they sold out, but that was the reality. And that's part of why I didn't buy anything. But then I realized it's not that I don't want anything, it's that I get suckered in by sales more than I do like curating my like wish list. So I thought maybe doing this wish list would help me, and that way when sales pop up, which are literally, they're gonna start, like they've already started and they're gonna get even worse next week during Black Friday or so, which I'm filming before Black Friday. I don't know when this video will go up, but basically I'm worried that if I don't think about my wish list more, that I'm gonna end up buying things that I don't want or need, but because they're on sale, I'll buy them. So that's kind of my motivation for doing this tag. So I hope that wasn't too rambly. Let's go ahead and jump into the first question. The first one is, what is the oldest product on your wish list? And for me, I think that if I think really hard about it, it's probably face products. The Bobbi Brown primer and the Double Wear from Estee Lauder. Those are two items that I have wanted for so long. I wanted them for as long as I can remember being into makeup. I've wanted to try them. As soon as I saw them pop up on YouTube, I wanted to try them, and I've never done it. And when I look at the foundations that I've purchased in my lifetime, I mean, I had, at the beginning of this year, I had 20 something foundations. I tend to buy drugstore foundations. I buy things that are $20 or under, and both of those products are more than $20. And then the couple of high-end foundations that I have managed to try, I've found on half off sale or at TJ Maxx. And I've just never fully committed to the idea, apart from the IT Cosmetics CC cream or the Bye Bye foundation, the one that's exactly the same. This one, I've paid full price for this one, but apart from this thing, which has 50 SPF, I've never paid full price for a foundation. And I think that's part of why I haven't bought the Double Wear or the Bobbi Brown primer. I mean, the Bobbi Brown primer is super expensive, so I haven't tried it, although I'm fairly certain it sounds like something right up my alley. It's hydrating, it does a little bit of smoothing because it's got some like silicone kind of style products in them, and I tend to like silicone primers, but I just can't bring myself to pay that price tag, although like I've come so close. And I think another reason why I haven't really pulled the trigger on those items is that I also have so many primers and so many foundations to use at first. In my head, I'm like, all right, when you get your collection to a manageable number, then you have every right to spend more money on it. But until then, I'm afraid that I would spend that money on it and then not use it because I have so many other ones that I want to use up first. So I hope to pick those up one day, but right now the price tag still scares me for both of those items. Okay, and looking down at my next question, what is the newest product on your wish list? And that for me, hands down, I know off the top of my head, the ColourPop and Christy collab. I thought that whole launch was beautiful. I've never ever really been tempted to buy an entire like collection of things, but that entire, like I wanted the actual like PR package, like the whole thing, all of the lip glosses. Although I don't need any more lip gloss, they looked beautiful. I wanted the eyeliners. I don't even care typically about colorful eyeliners, and I thought they were beautiful. And then of course the eyeshadows and the Super Shock bundle. I wanted all of that, and I'm still tempted if they restock it. I didn't get my hands on it on the day that it launched. I'm mostly because I wanted all of it, and that bundle sold out by the time I got to it, and I didn't feel like buying everything separately. So if they bring the bundle back, I might be tempted enough to get all of it, but oh my gosh, that collection was gorgeous. All right, question number 3 is an item that you keep forgetting about, and for me, that is definitely multi-chrome products. So I love a duochrome, love. I have a couple duochromes in my collection, across like different palettes and things. But I'm so interested in multi-chromes just because I love that just duochrome kind of flips. But I commonly forget that to even check for them on sale, which I'm pretty sure I'll rarely find them on sale. And so when I think about why I overlook these items, I think it's for two reasons. One, that the price is typically pretty high on these things. I think even like indie brands who make multi-chromes, they can run you anywhere from like $10 to $20 per shadow, and for me that's a lot, like especially when I think about the fact that I can get a 9-pan palette from ColourPop for about the same price. So it's hard for me to justify in my head for something that I also, which leads me into point number 2, I'm not gonna wear them all the time. Like they're probably more statement fun pieces that I will wear once in a while. And so I think for that like fear that I wouldn't get that much use out of them because they are specifically like kind of special shades, I'm afraid to spend, especially like some of them are like $20. I believe the Natasha Denona ones that came out recently in the like liquid form, I wanted to try, was it the green one, Scarab? I thought about getting that, and I thought about getting it during the Sephora sale, but again, I was just like, you know what, how many times? I'm probably gonna wear that less than 10 times in a year, which I don't know just if that justifies a price. So I'm trying to make sure that first I use up some other things here, and then maybe one day I could justify it, but right now I just can't seem to bring myself to do it. Okay, moving on to question number 4, I have an item that I'm glad that I removed from my wish list. And for me, I think those are those big, my answer is gonna be those big ABH Norvina collab palettes. I was really, really interested in the 4th one that was released. It was the one that was released last, and it was just beautiful. It looked like the grown-up version of my favorite one. This is the one I'm talking about. This is my favorite palette, and it looked kind of like the grown-up version of this. It had some more kind of lilac-y tones. It had some more golds and rose golds in it. It had some pink variations, and I think it also had a couple neutrals. And it looked like, because I enjoyed this palette so much, that I was so tempted to get that palette. But I kind of talked myself out of it. I'm like, you know what? That palette may end up, what if I don't like the quality, but also what if I end up neglecting this? I have this, you love this, you should just love on this. You don't have to buy more just because you love this. So that's kind of why I've removed it from my like wish list so far. I have to admit though, if it ever went on like half off sale and I managed to see it, I would probably pick it up, but I'm definitely not as tempted for the full price like I initially was. Okay, and number 5, what is an item on your wish list that you can't get, either like location, that kind of thing? So I feel like this one's a tricky question because on one hand, there are a number of things that are difficult to get in Sweden, and that is something that I like am conscious of, but also I do have access to buy things in the US. I just ship them to my mother-in-law's house and she holds on to them and stacks all my boxes up neatly, and I get them eventually when I go home. So I realize that I'm really not struggling that bad when it comes to like how hard it is to get my hands on products, because I can typically get my hands on products that I want to. But a couple things come to mind. I think like Cleona and some of those indie brands that I've been dying to try, I'm afraid to ship them here because one, I don't want to pay the VAT tax for those items, and 2, I'm afraid to ship them home because if they arrived broken or something, I don't want my mother-in-law to have to like send things back to customer service because something arrived damaged. And I know a lot of those like special single shadows that are so gorgeous and so beautiful, like from like, I'm thinking Sydney Grace, Cleona, Gimme Glow Cosmetics. I want to try some of those indie brands so bad, but I don't want her to have to do the work of, if something arrived broken and they needed me to send it back, I don't want her to do that work. So for me, that's been a big barrier as of right now. But when we move back to the US in the future, that's hopefully not going to be a barrier because I can be there personally to like deal with anything that might arrive broken. So hopefully it wouldn't. But you know, I'm paranoid that way, so. Okay, question number 6, what's an item on your wish list that you would probably never buy? And that one for me is probably the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I thought that palette was absolutely gorgeous, like so stunning. I thought it was really kind of grungy, which was really cool, but I find myself like so tempted by it, but also I realize that I'm not ever going to pay that like $129 price tag, even though I do think it's nice that that palette offers more shades than the like typical Natasha Denona palettes. But even if it went on sale like 20% off or so, I think I'd still have trouble making myself pay that price because I know deep down that I have a lot of warm tones in my collection. I really love warm tones. So while it's tempting, it's something that I don't really find myself like realistically thinking I'm going to eventually buy that thing. But you know, I can admire the beauty in it. It's beautiful. But I don't know. I don't know if I would convince myself to actually buy it. Maybe if I ever saw it on like half off discount, I would get suckered in, but it would have to be at least half off. Okay, moving to question number 7. What's a item on your wish list that you'll probably buy next? And for me, I have 2 things come to mind. I am probably going to make an order from either ColourPop and or Odin's Eye Cosmetics here. So Odin's Eye, I'll talk about them first. They are a Swedish cosmetics company. And I know a bunch of people have done reviews on their palettes recently on YouTube. I know one of my favorites here on YouTube, it's just Steph, loves her palette. And so there's a part of me that goes, I don't own a lot of Swedish makeup, so I really want to try it. And I noticed, I was pulling up their website the other day and I noticed that they're teasing a Black Friday sale soon. So I'm hoping that I'll hop on there. Honestly, the only thing that's kept me from buying from them so far has been that they're a Swedish makeup company, and yeah, I still have to pay shipping in Sweden, and I hate paying for shipping. It makes me so mad. So I don't really have an excuse. It's not very logical, but so far that's been my barrier. But I'm hoping that the discount offsets the shipping. So maybe at Black Friday, if I'm able to get my hands on the palette that I want, that I'll pick that up. And then also I'm definitely hoping that ColourPop restocks a couple of different things. I have my eyes on a lot of things from ColourPop. Like I love ColourPop. So the things that are tempting me, and I'll talk about some of them a little bit more. The Taupe palette, the Mulan palette has always kind of had my eye. The Raw Beauty Christie collab, that was gorgeous. And then the Mandalorian, the Child palette. I want all of those things. So I know I probably realistically won't be able to get all of them. Either like 1, I don't need to spend that much money on eyeshadow, but 2, more than likely they won't all be on sale during the time that I want to buy, because I want to buy when they have a sale going on. So I'm probably gonna have to get what I can get, but those are things that are really tempting me now, and I'm probably gonna make an order during like their little Black Friday sale, because I usually do every year. They usually get me with that sale. Okay, question number 8. What item did you add to your wish list because of YouTube? And if I'm honest, it's probably all of it. I don't think I would be this into makeup or have this creative hobby or outlet if it weren't for YouTube. Like I tried for so many years to get into makeup on my own. Would buy things that just, I realize now I was not a good picker, and then I would hate my makeup. I would never try to, I would stop wearing makeup, and then I would get the guts up to try something again, and then I'd hate it. And it's just because I didn't know enough. But now YouTube has given me so much more knowledge, and I feel so much more comfortable. So I feel like I would never have this kind of collection if it weren't for YouTube. So I could say technically all of it, but honestly, one of the things that gets me, one of the like newer products on my wish list has been those Patrick Ta like duo blushes. It comes like the powder one that you put down first, and then you go over the top with like the cream kind of blush. And the shade She's So Olay is that brown kind of one. It looks like it might be a bronzer, but I hear people over and over say how beautiful it is. It has like this kind of rosy undertone to it. That is one that I don't think I would care about at all if it weren't for YouTube. And that one was in my cart for Sephora sale, and I took it out because I wouldn't be able to get it over here quickly. I would have to just kind of wait until I went home eventually, and I didn't want like a product to just sit around that long, because I honestly don't even know when we're gonna go home next. So that's one of the ones that's definitely on my wish list, and it probably only exists because of YouTube. So thanks, YouTube. Okay, question number 9. What is the most affordable item on your wish list? And for me, that definitely probably is the ColourPop 9-pan palettes. Again, I want the Mandalorian, the Child one, and then their Taupe one. And then honestly, like that little sunflower one that they released, I had to talk myself out of that one. I don't need that one. I'm not getting that one. DaLin, you're not getting that one. But those 9-pan palettes from ColourPop they run like $12 to like sometimes $16 depending on the collaboration and the packaging and that kind of thing. But those are ones that I'm definitely tempted by, but they are super affordable, and I think for that price, the quality is like out of this world. So that's the one that's definitely tempting for me. Okay, and the last question is, what is the most expensive item on your wish list? And for that, I definitely have to admit that I have those at least 2 of those Pat McGrath like 10-pan palettes, I think they're 10 pans, are on my wish list. And part of the reason why I've never bought one, even though she is doing a killer Black Friday sale right now, like I wish that I had the guts to like go for it. I just can't yet. But there's one that has like blue and cool tones in it, and then there's one that has that red shade and that kind of green special shade, that green gold special shade. I want both of those, and honestly, I do intend on one day I'm going to try one of those palettes. but I haven't brought myself to do it so far. Like, it's just too much money right now, or at least this year. Maybe when we're back in the US and I'm working full-time again, that would be something I would kind of invest in, like just as a reward to myself. But at the moment, I don't feel comfortable doing that. But I definitely want to try the Pat McGrath formula one day. It's something on my like eventual makeup to-do list, if that makes sense. And with that being said, that was the last question, so that's everything. Please, in the comments, let me know what you're being tempted by lately. What do you plan to pick up during this kind of holiday season of sales? And also, if you have any feedback about any of the products that I mentioned, like you like them or you don't like them, make sure to let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.